Welcome in 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. We're doing something that we don't always do on this show, which is having more than one person join me. That's first. Second, we have a long time guest, been on the show a bunch. My man Dave. Dave, how are you?
I am very good. I'm very good. Happy to be here again.
I love it. Every time you're here, my friend, we always have a blast. And we have a first timer. I'm gonna hope long time listener, first time on the show. But either way, we do have Sheila from OMG. Sheila, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sean. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So I brought the two of you on today because you guys, well, Sheila, in the way that Sheila lives it day to day in the dealer level. Dave is a much bigger dealing with a lot of different parts of the business. So today, really, I want to hear from Sheila about what's trending right now in the social world from a paid perspective. And I mean trending as far as what's working, how are we connecting? Because I'm sure you both have heard recently, right? Customers are having to do a little bit more work to find customers, right? It's not just, take the price or get out of here anymore. And so people are advertising, people are spending money again, which I think a lot of people forget that for 2 years, no one spent anything. So those of you who did were getting away with, 90-cent clicks, dollar clicks. It was unbelievable. Well, when everyone starts doing that again, it's just mathematics that the cost of doing business will go up. So Sheila, from where you sit, what you deal with daily, what's standing out to you right now?
One of the things that we've been talking about on client calls a lot is with the constraints that are happening with 2024, kind of leaning into things like fixed operations and used to help if you're having kind of soft sales on the new side. And then another thing that we've done consistently that is kind of making us stand out from other paid social is utilizing first party and third party data. Really tapping into the pre-existing, pre-qualified audience of customers that know your brand, they're familiar with your product, they might even have a favorite sales guy at your store. Reaching out to them to stay top of mind and kind of getting them back into that life cycle, reintroducing them to your new inventory that's hit the lot, maybe getting them in for service and getting an opportunity for a tee up there. Also trying to use that from a revenue standpoint. People have really been watching their margins on used and kind of leaning into work order volume and work order a dollar amount at the end of the day. That's going to help you bring revenue into your store when things are kind of slim in other areas.
I like the way that you kind of describe that as idea of with things get soft in one area where you can sort of move and transition yourself to stay top of mind. I don't think people give enough credit to paid social, Dave. I think you'll agree when it comes to retention, or at least the opportunity to be present in one's life without one really feeling as if you are, right?
So it's because nobody does it.
Right, exactly.
90% of the paid social advertising in the automotive space is automotive inventory ads. And there's nothing wrong with them. But it's, loading your catalog into the back end of Facebook and telling Facebook, you use your algorithm and go figure out who's car shopping and then serve them ads. And it's fine. I mean, there's good things about Facebook does a good job. Like they do a really good job of knowing who's shopping. They know if you've been going to dealership Facebook pages. They know if you've been on dealership websites with pixels. They know if you're searching on Marketplace. Like they do a good job.
Yeah.
But here's the big catch. If the three of us all own a dealership 20 miles from each other, Facebook's identified 15,000 people in the middle that are looking for a car. We are all advertising to the exact same 15,000 people, and we're serving them an ad that looks exactly like the other ones. They're all just carousel ads.
And that's because there's only one fucking internet. There's only one Facebook. And so if you are someone, Dave, I just was talking with a mutual client of ours the other day, April Simmons, and this came up because I had it on my show a couple weeks ago. When big vendors come to you with their paid search program, run for the hills if you're already doing it yourself. There is zero differences between what they're about to tell you versus what you are probably already doing on your own. Because today's point, if 90% of the world is AIA, when the big three or big four come to you and say, do our ad on social program, trust us, it's our traffic. They're lying to you. It's not their traffic. It's
AI.
Facebook's fucking traffic, and you likely already own it.
Yep.
You and I ran a comparison for a client one time, and I'll never forget. I pulled up, man. I stacked those data points together, and they were almost the exact same number of users, the exact same number of page engagements, the exact same, and you were just like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is legitimately a duplication and waste of money. I don't think enough people pay attention to Sheila's point, which is, if I'm going to waste money over here, if everyone else is doing it, then why don't I go into service? Sheila, talk to me, though, quickly about used cars, because I am of the opinion that dealers should employ the big three to sell used cars. I just don't think it makes financial sense to try and do it on Google anymore. I don't think VLAs are successful in the way people hoped and wished they were. And so I'm wondering, does Facebook and used, is it this, it's a marketplace, right? That's what it was created for. That's what we're all here talking about. That's what these third-party vendors will tell you they are. Is that the more accurate play than spending a ton of money in Google and going over to Facebook potentially, Sheila?
1,000%. Paid social is going to be where the users that are shopping for these units are. They don't have the OEM incentives or anything to kind of beef up the deals. So they're in their jammies at 3 a.m., scrolling on their social media page, looking at vehicles. You know, they're shopping stores. So pricing competitively and keeping a good mix in your inventory is really important there as well. But social is going to be best bang for your buck by far on a digital standpoint from you.
Dave, I know you have an opinion, so just share it.
So here's the other thing too. There's two things that you can do on social for used cars that are really unique and that I don't know of anywhere else that you can do it. The first is using that kind of in-market audience, right? Instead of doing the carousel ad that everybody does, you can do some segmenting and you can do what's called a collection ad. And the collection ad still sort of works the same way. There's a carousel at the bottom, but you can put video and content or whatever you want up top. We have a store, Bob Ruth Ford in Pennsylvania, that does the best used car collection ad I've ever seen. The top is their used car manager talking on video about being able to put together a manager's collection, which is all their 25,000 and under vehicles, how they can aggressively help people with challenging credit. So he's telling this story. The carousel underneath is just those discounted vehicles. It's totally a unique message versus everybody else just blasting a carousel ad in their feed. The other thing you can do, and the one that, man, I think it's so overlooked. So we have an audience. I'm never going to tell anybody to advertise to subprime. Subprime will find you, right? Like the guy with the 450 credit score,
he's blowing you up, bro. It's the shotgun on the opposite side. As dealers, you used to shotgun those deals out to people and hope someone would buy them. Homeboy is doing the same thing to try and be approved.
He's coming to you for sure.
24 hours, okay?
But we have an audience that's called near prime. And what it is, it's folks that are between like about a 550 and a 620.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, you could probably get them a new car in most cases, but they're people that think they have really bad credit. A lot of times it's like discharge bankruptcies and things like that.
Yeah.
Man, you put advertising in that person's feed saying, hey, we want to help you get a used vehicle today. That's gold. Because then you're not just getting a lead. You're not just getting a click. You're certainly not just getting a VDP view. You're getting a completed credit app. That's because that's where we're going to send them. And when you do, it's the same kind of thing. It's like thinking outside the box. I mean, look, when we talk about digital advertising, the thing that gets lost over and over and over again is the second word of that. It's the advertising piece.
Agreed. Digital's
amazing. It has really cool metrics. There's so many cool things about it. But fundamentally,
it's advertising, dude.
It's advertising, man. And if you wouldn't put it in a TV spot or a radio spot or on a bus stop bench, then it shouldn't be something you're showing to the consumer because it's digital.
Agreed. But to that now, to go the other way on that, and something I see Sheila's talking about, you're always talking about, which is the concept of, hey, if you're doing something cool in organic, right? If you're tearing it up, you had a killer post, you're doing something really sort of, again, to use the Mohawk example right now is a little bit outrageous because you're talking about something that is like 0.5% of people will ever be that creative, commit that much time and effort. So it's super dope. But on the lower scale, on the smaller side of that, we have a joint client in Matthews Motors who has a front woman. They have someone who is their business from front to back, no matter where she goes in those towns. That's who people know as the walking woman's car dealer, right? The concept of that, though, you take some of that and you use that in the paid world. Sheila, talk to me about what you see as the tie together. Why is that so important to you from a paid perspective to have a dealer that is also solid in the organic space?
I mean, that example is absolutely perfect where Morgan is their brand.
Yeah.
People recognize her. She's across all of their social platforms. People know who she is. They trust her. Whatever message she puts in the creative asset gets really high engagement when we utilize it on paid social on our Facebook platform. People engage with it and they are responding to it because they know her, because they know Morgan. It's really almost foolish to not utilize that across all platforms and echo that message everywhere you possibly can.
So,
Sheila,
help me understand something though. You just said something about working the people comment, they engage, right? So you guys know I'm not on Facebook. I'm barely on LinkedIn, but I'm there. So, well, not as barely as Dave, but barely. Anyways, doesn't matter. The point is, Sheila, when you say that about working the comments and seeing the engagement, is that a post? Because we have this, Jeff Hunter drives him crazy that, we'll create all this cool content with dealers. They'll create their own cool content. They'll have a bunch of comments and they'll do nothing. They'll do nothing. They'll say nothing. I call them one-way posters, and I can't stand it just in my own personal scrolling life. It just annoys the shit out of me that people get all these comments. They just leave everyone's conversation to go because I kind of thought that was the point. Anyways, Sheila, where is that showing up? Is it in a dealer's feed? Does a dealer know where to go to work those opportunities or to comment or to respond? Can you help me, and I'm sure others, understand how that works?
Well, if they have a guy like you that is their organic consultant or someone helping them with that, I would hope they would be managing that really well. Most of my clients do keep a really tight eye on comments and engagement in their ads, even on the paid side and stuff like that. But it also helps. It's organic engagement on your paid ad. You're
right.
Sponsoring this to show everyone, look, 12 people liked this ad.
Yeah.
12 people commented on this and talked about how they had a good service, a nice oil change that was fast or what have you.
And you get notifications. I mean, Sean, I'm the admin on something like 300 plus Facebook pages. I can assure you by my notifications button on my Facebook page, you get notified when
everyone gets it.
Comments on your ad or whatever. You get
so it doesn't. So Dave, same place though. Ad or organic posting doesn't matter to you. It's all the same. It's not like a Google thing where it's like something in AdWords or something over here. You're saying that is in your. If it's in the notifications, it's in the notifications from paid or organic elements.
Exactly.
And to your point, being social on social is the whole point of having these ads there, right? People are there to engage. They want to socialize.
If your ad got engaged, like seriously, like it's one thing if your organic post got engagement because you're like, yeah, cool. That's, that's kind of what we're here for. Ads, you normally think, as we were just talking about from an advertising perspective, digital billboard, part of the scroll, just, it's there. But your point, both of you have made to me independently, is that it has to be more engaging. There has to be more to it. It has to stand out. Then it stands out. And nobody does anything with it. Everyone just lets it sit there. It's super, super annoying to see that on a daily basis.
I know that dealers see them because occasionally someone will leave a nasty comment on an ad. And we will hear about that from the dealers super fast. So they know that the comments are happening. I just never hear them saying, hey, there's a bunch of nice comments. What should I do about that? I just hear, hey, this guy said terrible things about me. Please get on it.
That sounds about right, just in our own atmosphere. As humans right now. I mean, we had someone call us out for a mistype on one of their organic posts. Like the name Tampa had 2 A's, like TAA or whatever it was. And I'm like, that's it? Like, okay, cool. Like I've done 50 other posts with not that. And so, yeah, it's amazing what people will, latch onto in that world.
I'll tell you the other thing too that I'd throw out there, and I'm going to start talking about this with our clients a lot more. The things that they do on television, they don't do on social. And I'll give you a great example. NIL has become a huge thing.
Huge.
You live in Madison.
Huge, dude.
I live in Columbus, dude. We're in college football.
But Dave, I don't want to get nerdy, but really fast, I was just reading an article about how it's impacting Major League Baseball scouting. They cannot sign a college prospect for more than their college will pay them. It's fucking bonkers, dude.
And I know dealerships are using it. Like,
but your point is they're not using anything about these kids on social. They're just making an ad in their dealership. They're having them spend $5,000 of time, and then they're going cool. And then they don't even use the commercial in social, let alone use the human. Dude,
it's insane.
Those sports agreements and the lack of social equity drives me
crazy.
Bonkers. Like I have clients who have NFL linemen, they sponsor or whatever. They're like, yeah, we didn't even think about having them do a post. I'm like, what the fuck? You thought about having them do an ad for TV for one day for $5,000, but you didn't think for 30 seconds to take a bunch of video with him standing on set and fucking post it?
Yeah, like the TV spot cost you between production and guest and everything else $30,000-$40,000. And meanwhile, we can't spend $100 to throw it up on social media as an ad.
Or even put it together. Like, that's my point. And that's what we're going to close this out with. The whole point of why I brought you guys here was because you're going to be in Madison this fall, September the 24th, for Being Social. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And the reason, just to clarify this, we talked about it in the pre-show, so I will say it live. To clarify, these people are handpicked as partners, as speakers, as part of this event. They are curated like events should be. This is not a pay to play. This is, you've been invited to play. Do you want to pay to do that? That is what this is about. Not the other way around. It's not a highest bidder situation. Anyways, Sheila, I believe, if I heard it correctly, this will be your first time speaking at an event. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is the first
time. Okay. What are you most excited about?
Honestly, you've really talked up the hotel and the food.
It's going to be incredible.
I'm excited. This is the first time I get to present with my mentor. I've worked with Dave, for several years now. I've watched him present multiple times, and that's always kind of been what I've striven to do. He's taught me a lot, and I'm excited that's going to be my first presentation is with Dave, honestly.
Look at this. I didn't know I was putting together something that magical. I mean, I knew it was awesome. I didn't know it was that magical. Dave Lemon, this is our second go around together with this event. Last year, Sheila was at the event, but she was behind the camera. She was on the work side of it. She'll be now in front of it. What are you looking forward to? Besides actually getting to Madison on time, besides that, what else are you looking forward to?
I have made some very different travel plans, I will tell you this time. There's a little more driving involved, but it should be an easier trip. I am looking forward. So last year, I do a ton of conferences. You know that. As someone who has walked away from the conference scene for the most part. You don't know how I do it, but I go to.
I don't. It makes me exhausted when you start traveling for that.
I still love them, but partially because some are in Vegas. But,
correct. When we all know how that goes. We don't have time, Dave. You have to be somewhere.
Here's what I will say.
Yeah.
You and I talked about conceptually something like this for a long time.
Yes.
8, 9, 10 years even. We sort of danced around the concept. Seeing it really come to fruition, part of that for me was based on adding a new show to my lineup that I only started going to a couple of 2-3 years ago, which was David Kane's show.
Yeah.
And David Kane's show, when people talk about it, they talk about the intimacy of it. The fact that there's not this like wall between vendor and dealer and nobody's really talking to each other. And, maybe the vendors get party passes or whatever, right? Like instead it's just a big group of people who love working in this space and want to put their heads together and talk and socialize and enjoy each other. And man, last year we hit that aspect out of the park. We all had dinner. Every attendee and everybody involved that wasn't planned.
No.
That organically, just at the end of the day, everybody's like, let's all, break bread together and spend time together.
And it was, for me, that was the motivation to make it a part of this year, right? Was to just say, instead of dancing around, instead of saying that, was let's do this. Let's go out and make that happen. And Sheila, you will not be disappointed. And by the way, when you stay at the hotel, you'll be able to go to a multitude of restaurants you're going to love within 5 seconds of walking. You're going to love the location. It's really, really kick ass. And the idea behind everything for me and the people we've chosen is we're going to tell a story. We're going to tell a story about what it takes to get started. We're going to tell a story about what it takes to keep going. We're going to tell a story about what it takes to be fucking great at it and to be someone who is as accomplished as a Jeff Hunter or anyone else who's going to be there. Jason Fox, who runs, again, a top 5 Cadillac dealership out of the outskirts of Indianapolis. It mathematically doesn't add up. But when you look at the game Lockhart has and you look at how they approach social media, you say to yourself, I get that, and I want to learn from that. So that is what we are doing. Sheila, leave us with this one thing a dealer could do right now to be better with their paid social media.
Use an agency that you trust and listen to them, I would say, is one of the most important pieces. It's really hard when you're running a dealership to try to do all of that stuff on your own. Mm-hmm. And the pay structure for social it's such that you can definitely get bang for your buck utilizing an agency and take that off your plate. It's well worth it. It's well worth the conversions you're going to get. It's well worth getting it off your plate if you have someone that you can trust and kind of listen to there.
Look, I tell people all the time, Sean, I want to run my own Google ads. Cool. Don't do it. It's that simple. If you wanted to work for Google, you should go do that. If you want to work for an agency, you should go do that. But from your dealership, if you're a single, even if you're a double, even if you're a triple rooftop deal, you're better off doing it. I know a lot of people want to challenge that, bring it in-house. I've looked at the expenses over a decade, folks. Rarely does it pencil because humans tend to stand around when vendors can't afford to. It's just how the world works. Dave Lemon, do you have anything for people who maybe are on the fence about being social? Why should they come to Madison, Dave?
Because almost every dealership in America is bad at one of the two components, either paid or organic.
That's called math, folks. That's all that one was there. Well, thank you both for joining me. I really appreciate it. Sheila, wonderful job. I look forward to your presentation. I cannot wait to hear about what's trending, what's hot, what's going on in the moment when we get down there in September. Dave Lemon, as always, a pleasure, my friend, having you on the show. Thank you for showing up. And folks, beingsocialauto.com, go to it. By the time this show actually airs, you'll be like, within like 45 days, probably. And who knows? Right now, we're about 65% of the way sold out, and we've got a lot of people saying maybe. So we'll see if those maybes turn to yes. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have yourselves a great rest of the week, and we'll see you again next week.